Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another stream. We're playing more D&D 5e this morning, and you know what? This morning I'm going full spellcaster. I can't wait. I'm on vacation. I'm going to wreck things. It's going to be really lots of fun. However, first of all, guys, thank you all for being in chat. If you could all go and retweet the tweet for us, that would be very much appreciated, just to boost that and get them numbers in nice and early. We are going to be running, like I said, 5e, so that's also fun. I think I already said that. It's all blurring into one. So here are my social links. If you guys are not already, ready in the Discord, my mind unraveling so soon. Hang on, just X on that. We're gonna go back a little bit. Yep, donkeys are aliens. Donkeys are alien. Welcome everybody and welcome to the stream. If you could all retweet the show, that would be very much appreciated. Let's get them numbers in nice and early. Here are my social links. You can see the Discord there. It's full of really nice, friendly, inclusive people who will help you learn D&D if you want to learn D&D, and they will help you. They will help you. They won't do other stuff. It's really cool. It's a really nice place to be. I'm really proud of them. They're great. Also, my Twitter is there. If you want a game, send me a DM and we'll get you a game. Simple as that. And YouTube is where we catch everything up. So that'll be there in a bit. What else have we got? I've got a Patreon. If you guys like the stuff that I'm throwing down and that my casters are throwing down, please consider supporting us from as little as $1. It's very much appreciated. And also, I have merchandise. The merchandise looks a little bit something like this. This is a notepad. Oh, I think yesterday Lord Conti ordered the black and white version of this, the hardback sketchbook, which is cool stuff. Yeah, I've already done the tweet thing. I've done the social links. Guys, we're ready to stream! We're ready to stream. And yeah, I got 5 hours of sleep. I wasn't in any way perturbed by the fact that my hardcore pit fighter suddenly had feelings, Marcy. Let's let's go and get our players today. Oh, hi, you guys. You are live.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going just grand. So now, Tahina, how would you like to do this? Shall I go around and introduce people first and then come back to you? Or would you like to set the scene first? Okay. So we'll work our way down the screen then. We will start with Nairi Malakatra. Welcome.
Hi, and thank you for having me today. Should I talk about my character or just myself?
Short introduction to yourself and then a short introduction to your character.
Exactly.
All right. Well, I'm Nairi, or at Malakatra, you'll find me on Twitter. And I'm sort of average at playing D&D. I've been playing for maybe a couple years or so. And yeah, I'm super excited for the character I'm going to play today, which is going to be the guide of the group, called Mila Temer. She's a little bit short on the smarts side, but really good in the wild, so that's going to be pretty interesting.
Fantastic. Yeah, looking forward to that. Today I'm going to be playing Dean McCracken. I'm here to keep an eye on that unruly lecturer for the plot. We'll see what he gets up to today on this field trip, which is very much worth our faculty expenditure. Welcome, Archmage Derek.
Hey, how's it going? Hi, I'm Archmage Derek, or seen as on a sleepy Sunday morning, I'm just Derek. You can find me at Archmage_Derek on Twitter. And today I'm playing Theodore O. Plot, a sort of cocksure adventurer who is a professor, and no one's sure how he got his degree. I'm here for, well, expedition and adventure and all those things.
Wasting faculty money. Exactly. Last but not least, we welcome Death by Badger, Olivia. Oliver.
I'm only Olivia on the weekends.
I'm sorry. I can't. Give me any name and I'll butcher it. Doesn't matter where it originates from. I'll butcher it. I'll find a way.
I'll hold it against you later. I'm Oliver. I'll be playing Madame Grimbucket, Jungle Goblin Witch and Mother of 17. Yeah, there you have it.
I mean, clearly a lot of stamina.
She really does. For a tiny woman, she would have a lot in her.
So that's us. Tahina.
Yes, let me take it away. Welcome, spectators and players. I'm Tahina, your dungeon master for today, and I will lead you to my homebrew setting, Serenesti. Serenesti is an island that has been created by a star falling and destroying a once great and beautiful continent, and only an island the size of New Zealand, and 3 very tiny islands. Those have once been the highest peaks of a mountain range, are left now. Those 3 islands are lying in the north of Serenesti itself, and the last few weeks, about 2 weeks, Dean, McCracken, and Theo had been on a boat trip. They hail from Ostend, one of the biggest city that you can find in my world. It is a center of learning and a center of entertainment and has a seedy underside. And they traveled to Taran Mar, the city of glass and fire, and over the mountain peak there on the back of mules and with some goats to carry their equipment, went through that jungle that is mild compared to Briala, and they set over with a ferry to this small tunnel of sea, and ended up in the only village of that exists basically in Briala, and they are now in Dwigari. The name means twice burned, and there are tiny huts standing on long wooden stalks, partly in the water of the channel. You can see the island of Briala rising up behind it. It's just this one massive peak, basically. It's very, very steep and completely covered in greenery. The air is lush and filled with the sound of birds. There is a steady wind coming and carrying the smell of spices and of wood smoke. You can hear the water softly crashing against the stony beach that those wooden platforms basically are sitting on as you step on the dock of the bay and are being greeted by this slender wood elven woman and a put out looking goblin. They seem to have been waiting for you.
They look thin, Mila. Nobody feeds them. Their mother clearly did not feed them.
Well, welcome to the island. I am going to be your guide while you are here. I will be taking you around wherever you need to go.
Excellent. Where can we find the closest place to get some sort of gambling done? Daddy needs to put a few more gold coins in his pocket.
Well,
Mila, you would know that there is only one inn and one inn alone in all of Twigari, and that is the Swan Song Inn.
the Swan Song Inn.
Mm-hmm. It's governed by a UNT woman that is very fond of whatever you can harvest in the jungle. Let's put it that way.
Well, if you really want to spend your time gambling or just doing just some rest and relaxation, you can go to the Swan Song Inn. It would be in town. I can take you there, but
Snakes. Lots of snakes. Under the seats, under the tables, in the drinks. Lots of snakes.
You know what? Hard pass on the whole snake place. You McCracken?
Suit yourself.
What, I don't know. You insist on coming along. What are we doing? It's your trip. Your adventure. Yeah, I was gonna have fun.
You're muted, Scrat.
I'm muted. That's how enraged I am. I was speaking so loud my voice broke.
Oh, supersonic.
Ugh. Theodore, you sanctioned this trip. You were saying something about some magical item that would make it all worthwhile. We didn't just sign it off so you could come gambling.
Well, I thought you needed to. Fine, okay. You know what? I have info on one thing here. I think we can do it. I think you'll like it. You'll enjoy it. It'll be a good, definite not squandering of university allotment of funds. I think. That's why I brought so little. I spent most of it on the boat.
I'm making, I'm taking it. I'm creating a diary right now. I'm making note of all of this. All the things you say. I'm taking notes.
Well, good, because in a couple weeks you'll be able to sell it. The Adventures of Theo and Lydia. I can hear it now. Bestseller back in Ostend.
How did you get into the university?
I'm talented and very handsome.
All right, I don't have time for this. I've left 5 babies and a house full of bees, so we need to get going.
Yes, there are a lot of places to see, a lot of plans to squish into your diary if you wish to take something. We must get going if you want to look around.
I'm going to take out the little note from my pocket that I probably jotted down on a napkin. What did I write down about this drunk stupor that I'm supposed to do here?
You heard that there's a new outcropping of assassins running through Ostend, basically. There was a heist on the Dragon's Hoard, the greatest casino. You know that because you were there when it happened. You just heard rumors, but you know that some of the guards had been taken down with Briala's tears. And you thought, in your drunken stupor, that is one of the most expensive substances that exist. I should get some of that and sell it to them. That's a good idea. That's a good market value. Let's do that.
Let's see. It says, okay, trying to read drunk Theo's handwriting. Always a bargain. Briala's tears, sell it, make millions. Okay, so where would I find some Briala's tears then? Mila, was it?
Mila, yes. And you have come to the right place. And I can take you into the, into the only place you would be able to find such dangerous and risky substances. You can try them if you like. Some of them are really good. Some really nice, interesting plants in there. But yes, you want to find Briala's tears, I can take you to where you
I like how you sort of did the shift in, you're very serene, and then we mentioned the drugs, and then you got very happy, and now you're back to, this place is going to be fun.
It's riddled with snakes, and the town has burned to the ground twice. Of course, we're all on drugs.
Hey, the drugs make it easier to live with the snakes.
Coping mechanisms, my dear.
Yeah, now, hang on a second. What do you mean it's burned down twice? What can possibly burn it down?
As you say that, you feel a swell of magic. For one moment, you feel as if the magic that you have harnessed all your life seems to escape from you. No, it's not your magic. There's magic flooding all around you, like the weave of the webs going crazy. The water rises and slender forms appear, waving at you and singing. I need you all to make a wisdom saving throw.
Sorry, what kind of saving throw am I making?
Wisdom.
Of course.
All of us, yeah?
Everyone.
Oh, okay.
Would you like us to type it anywhere or just say it to you?
Just tell me.
Oh yeah, some of us are using real dice. Hold up your dice. Let's see, they were pretty.
Oh yeah, I used for the magic search you can see them on my Twitter account. It's the one in the background, the one with purple and greens and blues.
Sorry, Karen.
I got a 17 for my wisdom save.
Fantastic.
18 for me.
18? Madame, what did
19.
you roll? 19. Fantastic. Yes. Lydia. Dean McCracken.
Oh, I got a 15, Deary.
Oh, fantastic. So all of you manage to save as you see those slender forms waving at you suggestively, and you feel their pull, and for one moment you feel like, that water, it looks so lush and refreshing, and I want to sink into the arms of those maidens made out of water. But then you shake yourself, and you feel the flow of magic subside, and for one moment the form stays coherent, and then and the water just falls back down with a splash into the bay.
Reminds me of our second wife. She was beautiful. Not made of water, though. That would have been highly impractical.
So that sort of stuff just happens around here?
Yeah.
It doesn't. Where you're from?
Oh no.
The
Well,
insurance rates must be through the roof.
Ostend City is protected by abjuration mages who keep the city as safe as they can from wild magic searches. But there is some now and then, especially Theo remembers when that Ublex tried to crawl out of his bathroom sink. And he had to get someone to take care of it. But yeah, Ostend is pretty tame when it comes to wild magic searches.
Oh, good. Try not to step on anything. You never know when it could explode or turn into something that will sing you to sleep and then, well, put you to sleep forever.
Or maybe you need to step on the right thing and then get the great experience out of it.
What
You know-
is this great? Where have you brought us, Fyodor? What is going on here?
Well, we're clearly in Briala, and the people are clearly either drunk or high or both, and I like it. Remember, we should be discussing that whole drug-free policy we have back in Austin University. I've been.
Oh,
really
don't
pushing.
you worry, Fyodor. We will be discussing our drug-free policy.
I'm glad to hear that you're finally starting to see things my way.
I'm starting to see things from your perspective, all right.
You'll see things from many perspectives around here long enough.
That's probably all the fumes that you're getting, Lydia.
Lots of fumes.
You know I don't like to be called Lydia. Dean McCracken. We have a professional relationship, Fyodor. I'm not your traveling companion. I'm here to assess your capability.
But Lydia has such a lovely ring to it.
Ah!
Oh,
While
Mila,
you
if you
are
could-
talking and unsuccessfully flirting with your boss, the ferryman is getting your equipment from the ship, and he seems like, oh yeah, maiden made out of water, a goblin and a wood elf on a dock. It's a Tuesday. He's just putting all your stuff and preparing to leave, and before he goes, he says with his scruffy voice, I'll be back in a week. If you need me, I can take you back to Taranma. If you survive the jungle, best of luck. And he tips his hat and steps on his boat and starts to leave the harbor. So you're standing now on the dock, and all your equipment is with you. You are ready to venture forth, but if you want to, you can also get more equipment in the village.
Let's see. I have about a spare to carry the 113 gold pieces on me. Let's see what they have as far as this recreational drug stuff, huh?
No, let's go and find the artifact
Oh, right, yes, the thing, the tears.
so we can take it back to the university and study it like we
Sell it,
planned.
yes.
Study.
Oh, I did say study, didn't I?
You
We're going
did.
to be studying the drugs.
No,
Yes.
no, not the drugs. We're not studying any drugs. Fyodor, I do not like the company that you have chosen for this party.
Well,
I-
that's lovely, isn't it?
It's not my fault who pulls a piece of paper off a board in a distant island, Dean
It was
McCracken.
very high up.
Just
Very
sort of,
high.
random chance. Almost like the Lady of Fate herself just pulled us all together. And I stare off in the distance for about a solid 30 seconds.
It's
How do you know the Lady of Fate?
Who is this lady? And why does she keep interfering?
You hear rumbling in the distance, and suddenly the sky starts to turn gray,
Oh, no.
and a soft drizzle that very fast turns into sludge.
Oh, thank God. I thought it was snake rain for a moment.
Snake rain. What on
normal
earth
water.
is snake rain?
Hate snake rain.
All right, well, time to get somewhere indoors. Okay, why don't we drop our stuff off at this inn? You said it was called the
Swan
don't-
Song.
Swan Song, yes.
Okay, I suppose we can afford a quick break.
And Mila leads you to the Swan Song. You see the city, I said, the village. It's the dock. That wooden platform basically is prolonged, and there are about 7 houses, big houses, with some small huts interspersed between them. One of them has a wooden shield in front of it, and it's not you Ostenders, you know what real houses look like. All of your houses, they have, there is a canalization and you do have glass in your windows. This is basically just, it's not even complete walls. There are openings in the sides so the wind can go through, and they are hanging this curtain-like structures in there to keep insects out, and there is a waft of some sort of incense keeping mosquitoes that are starting to plague you at bay. And it looks all very rickety and weird and downtrodden, and yeah, you're not, this is not what you're used to, Dean McCracken. Where are the cobblestones?
This is a very good question. Where are the cobblestones? Where are the streets and the people walking about? And the nice libraries?
Well, it's less to rebuild, because when you're living in a place where essentially a giant firebolt can come, give you the middle finger, and then slap the crap out of your entire town, it's less to rebuild.
Wednesdays, he says nostalgically.
Yes, it is easy to not be very attached to things that you have here when everything goes away so quickly. And now it's Mila's turn to look off into the distance.
What on earth are you all looking at?
Oh, there's a fantastic bird over there. I'm surprised that it's staying so dry.
Oh, that's because its wings are burning as it cleaves through the sky, evaporating the raindrops falling on its back. It's just taking one circle and then dives into the canopy of trees.
Oh, thank God, it wasn't hunting.
You know that their wings are not only on fire, they are some of the feathers are made out of metal, and they like to shoot them at their prey.
Holy shit, that was the coolest bird I've ever seen.
No, it's the
Last
hottest.
person said.
Oh, right, sorry, I get my adjectives mixed up. You know, people say that I'm a really good teacher.
Are you grabbing all your stuff? Or are you standing still on the dock getting rained upon?
At this point, the water is dripping off of my wide-brimmed hat, making a sort of a pool around me. I'm most upset and just staring at Theodore. Incredulously.
Wistfully.
We should move.
Shall we go inside, Dean McCracken?
Yes, we should go inside. Thank you for addressing me properly.
You're welcome, Lydia.
Gah!
As you go inside, you see in this rickety building with the curtains made out of string, keeping the insects out, and the smell of incense is getting much stronger. And there's a woman behind some form of improvised bar, basically. She is leaning very heavily on the countertop, and she has a snake wrapped around her shoulder that she is very bored petting, and now and then she takes a deep inhalation from her hookah-like water pipe, and you smell not only the incense that is insect repellent, but yeah, there are some recreational spices at work here. And as Madame Grimbucket said, there are snakes covering and lying lazily on some hot stones and on tables, draping around. She has a lot of potted plants that might be just for decoration, or maybe they serve another purpose. It's not quite clear. And 2 half-elves are sitting on a table eating something and seem to be very heavily in their cups as they are giggling and pointing at things that they're most likely not meaning. The plant that they're pointing at and giggling. And the two natives know that those are Cordial and Umna. They work for one of the storage spaces here where the merchants that come now and then to gather supplies, they just take care of that, provide space basically to put the goods before they are being ferried away. The woman looks at you and she sighs, slightly put out, and then, welcome, visitors, to the Swan Song.
Hello, thank you for having us at the Swan Song. Could we possibly, I don't know, get a room? I've got about 30 pounds of pissed off gnome and her stuff that I've got to drop off.
Hello!
Good
That's
day.
the pissed off gnome.
Of course. You are all welcome in the Swan Song. Are you here to venture into the jungle?
We are. Well, I'm here to adventure in the jungle. She's here to be very upset in the jungle and very, what's the word I'm looking for? Malcontent.
Maybe get her some of our fare. It will make you most happy. She smiles at Lydia.
I turn and look down at Dean McCracken and I say, drugs? Would you like some drugs?
No,
She's offering you drugs.
no, I would not like any drugs, thank you. I just want to go and find the magical item so that we can get back to university and study it, and not waste all the academy's business revenue this year. People pay taxes, you know, Theodore.
Do you think the auxiliary services department is going to be a little pissed off when all of our receipts say drugs?
Yes! Yes, I do!
I didn't never
See,
give
that's
receipts.
That's your problem. You're paying attention to all the red tape.
I think you look at this the wrong way. Those are not drugs. They have medical properties.
See, it's medicinal.
Oh, yes, of course they do. Mm-hmm.
And they can
They-
be healthy for you.
They will ease your last hours. This is the Swan Song.
The last heirs! The last heirs! Now, hang on a second. I'm taking distinct displeasure in your choice of wording.
Well, I mean, she says it with such a lovely voice. I mean, who cares if we're going to
Don't get
die?
me wrong, dearie. You've got a lovely voice. It's very, it's beautiful. It really is. You've done well on that. It's sultry. It really gets me deep down. But your choice of wording there, the words themselves, last heirs. I'm not so sure about that.
I am. All of those who come here, not many return.
That's because
One-
people really enjoy the plants.
Theodore?
Yes.
Now, Theodore, you didn't mention anything about danger in particular on this trip.
Well, see, remember a couple months ago when you said, I'll never be caught dead with you on one of your stupid expeditions?
Yes?
Whamp whamp.
But
Uh,
you
so-
are not dead yet. And you have money to spend, so welcome.
We'd like a couple of rooms then, please. How much would it be for those?
Room and board for both of you. For all of you? She looks at the others quizzically.
No,
Don't you
I'll
two
sleep
live
in the gutter.
Then 2 gold, and I will give you all that you need to forget your sorrows.
Ooh, all-inclusive package. Love it. I slam 2 gold down on the counter.
Her hand darts out, snake fast, and the money is suddenly gone. And she says, "Good to have you as guests.
Good to
Let
be
me
here.
bring you our today's special."
Special?
And she turns around, and with this smooth roll of her hips, she disappears behind a curtain, and after a while comes back with a tablet with steaming bowls on it. And if you're still standing there, stunned, she will look at you and wink and move her head and go over to a table and lay out food and drinks for all of you. And she's starting to start another glass pipe, basically, with several connections. So you can share it.
All right, lovely. Yeah, sit down. Theo watches as she walks back, and turns to Dimukak and says, "You know, I could live here."
Is this what your cunning plan has been all along? To get me out of one of these trips so that you can like play relocation? Is that your plan?
It was more of hopefully you would stop being such a stick in the mud, which I think is ironic, seeing as it's raining outside. Torrentially.
Mila, you can feel something, and Madame Grimbucket as well. You know another magic wave is about to crash. You can feel it in the bone of your marrow as the magic surges. And it seems as if Dean Lydia's voice is basically firing on the magic surge. As her voice rises, the magic does as well. And when it breaks, all of you are surrounded by fairy fire. You all glitter in different tones of purple and blue and green. And on the middle of Pio's brow, it looks like an eye that is opening. And you have, for the next 10 minutes, detect magic.
Ooh.
Oh.
Well, this is fine. I say as I take a bite of the stuff in the bowl that she had been so kind to bring out for us.
You feel slightly dizzy because you never saw magic before. You are a professor at university, but not a wizard yourself. So all those auras around things, especially around Dean McCracken, you can see the power that the small form houses.
I imagine she burns like a little flame.
Oh, yes. I do. Especially around her hands, you see the magic gathering.
You know, Lydia, you're glowing.
Oh, are you drunk already?
Is this what magic looks like? Or did you just suddenly decide to dry yourself off a very expedient way?
Hang on a second, Theodore. Are you asking me if this is what magic looks like? You're a lecturer at the university teaching magic.
I teach anthropology. I study people intimately.
In a wizarding college.
Well, of course, you need to know who you're blowing up, don't you?
Ah! Throws hands up, just walks away.
I'm like, what? I mean, I do teach PE too.
If she doesn't want her pipe, can I have it?
That would be my guest.
Oh, yeah. There's enough food for all four of you.
Yeah, Madame Grimbucket is eating in the goblin tradition where she grabs a bowl and puts her head face first in it. No, 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 no.
I'm smoking from 2 pipes right now, just casually.
So I turn to Mila and I ask, so, now most little far-off places I visit usually have some kind of, famed boogeyman or monster or some kind of thing where it's like, oh no, insert name here, run away in terror. Does Briala have anything like that?
Does Briala have anything like that?
Well, besides the terrain being difficult because it's so steep, and the verdant jungle being so thick that you can hardly pass through unless you are very well versed in traveling such terrain, I have someone with you, like you, that knows their way around. There are many animals, dangerous animals, just like that bird that you saw. And the wild magic has mutated and transformed and changed basically all the fauna and the flora as well. There are awakened trees. They don't take kindly to people traversing their forest. There are corrupted dryads and blights and other nasty beasties in the jungle, but mostly the fauna is very dangerous, so that is something to keep in mind. And not all magic searches are as harmless as the ones that you saw by for now. So yeah.
Lovely. So this whole Briala's Tears thing, is there what's the story behind them? How did they come to be?
It's basically DM. It's basically when the star fell. Correct. It started basically popping up across the places affected.
Mm-hmm. You know that Briala's Tears. The legend has it that the source was another forest who was on part of a mountain plateau where dryads lived, and they got burned to cinders and their trees as well by the first blast. And when in the ashes, the seeds of their saplings grew again, the corrupted dryads came to be, and the tears that those dryads cry, that's the most potent toxin. That's why they call it Briala's Tears.
Yeah, very dramatic.
I don't know what that means, but it is a story that a lot of people know, and it is what.
So are we going to have to make these? We're going to have to make these dryads cry, or
I think that's already been done.
Okay, good, because
Yeah.
I'm not very good at making people cry.
I am. I mean, we are going to be just fine. We are going to find exactly what you're looking for. I heard you say something about an artifact. At least your friend did.
Yeah, she says a lot of things. I sort of just gloss over it. Dean McCracken, are you done stomping around now?
Dean McCracken has left the pub. She is looking for a library or something, somewhere she can go sit quietly.
She's gone. Weird.
Oh, she could get eaten by anything out there by herself.
She's probably already eaten. Or she is eating.
Gone. Dead.
Roll me an
In a stomach.
investigation check, Dean McCracken.
With pleasure!
With your investigation, you find out that this is indeed a very tiny village, and there is an inn, and there is a shop, and some storage space, and some merchants basically using that storage space. You end up in the shop. And you meet a guy named Chandler Sharp, a green-haired half-elf with bright purple eyes and a skin that looks like there is a pattern of green scales or something on him. And he is basically organizing his shop, and he has a small shelf of books, and this is the closest thing to a library you can find on Tigari.
Hello!
Good day, my lady. What can I do for you? He says as he pops up and hits his head on the shelf and rubs his head and looks around.
Be careful, that's one of the hazards of being tall. Now, I see you've got some books here. I'd like to sit and read them. Is that okay?
Well, you know, my lady, this is a shop, so we want to make money. I would prefer it if you bought them.
I could buy a coffee or something whilst I sit and read them. Do you do that sort of thing?
You know what? I will make you a tea, and you can read a book, and you will tell me who you are and what brought you here and what news are from. You're from Steranesti, right?
I'm an Ostender.
Fantastic. Maybe we can talk about trading opportunities. Let me get that tea.
Okay.
Take a seat. He moves, basically, he takes the basket that's empty and turns it around and puts it as a small stool for you beside the shelf with the books.
What is the most arcane-looking book they have?
There is not one book about arcane matters in there. It's a few herbariums, and there are a few books about they call it history books. That's just No, it's just legends and children's stories, more like Grimm's fairy tales or something. There's some smutty literature sprinkled in there. So
Oh, no,
yeah.
no, 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 no. I'll take one of the herb books, one of the herbariums. I just sit and read that.
And you learn about Briala's tears in that book. If you look for that, because you heard it before, then you will learn the story about the dryads being corrupted and destroyed, and the tears, and how to harvest them. Because sometimes you find a place where the tears have gathered, so you can just take that. But if you are unlucky and have to hunt down a dryad and make her actually cry to harvest the tears, there are different ways, obviously, to do that. And the book is trying to point out what's the best way to do it.
Kill the Dryad's lover. What kind of book is this?
A different handwriting has scribbled on the side something like that. Very much, it looks a little bit like "brought them to tears, worked like a charm."
I'm gonna take note of that little handwriting. See if I can find out who that is. Is there a? They put maybe a little bit at the back saying my name's Derek and I'm making notes because of thingies.
Exactly that.
I'll make a note of that.
And after a while, the green-haired half-elven man comes, and he just, without much ceremony, makes a bit of space, puts a tablet down, and sits cross-legged so that you are basically eye to eye now. You're sitting on the basket, and hands you a cup of tea and starts talking to you about, so, you're an Ostender. And
Oh,
you look
it's gonna be
like an important lady.
Yes, I am. I work at the university.
And what kind of supplies could the university use that are grown here on Briala? And
Oh, well, that's easy. I mean, specifically, my department is looking for the following sorts of things. It's looking for things like we could always use stuff like gems. We're always looking for gems and things like that. Perhaps
we have alchemistic ingredients. Could you use that?
Alchemistic. Well, not so much for me. I tend to need expensive diamonds. That's one of the things that I often need. Like 50 gold pieces worth of diamonds. That's one that I often need. Also, sometimes we can use things like hang on a second. I'm just looking through my spell book here. I've got all sorts of things in here that need things like feathers. Feathers, strangely enough, they can be quite useful. Not necessarily in my department, but they're useful for people who like to do falling and things.
I have just a thing. And he gets up and gets this wooden box with assorted feathers from exotic birds and shows them to you. Then he shows you some plants and other materials that he says he knows can be used in fire protection potions and stuff like that.
Oh, yes, that's you see, we don't really much use them for potions, you see. Do you have a bit of copper or a pinch of dust? Just pass me some water. Pass me a little bit of water.
He gives you some water and he bows down and just scrapes some dirt from the front. Yes, your dust.
No, you can keep the dust. I'll just take the water, and I take the drop of water and I flick it, and it becomes a long shard of ice that hits the wall somewhere and explodes in a like frosty thing. You see, we just use the components to do the spell. We don't make a potion out of them.
Listen now, lady. Careful with the store.
Oh no, it's fine. It's just a bit.
You have to pay for it.
It's just a bit cold. It's just water, dearie. It's just water.
Yeah, sharp-looking water.
Don't worry your head.
Well, if you lived with magic surges, then you would not be very happy with people throwing ice in your place of commerce. So
yes. Okay. Yes.
Tea. Have you drunk some of the tea?
I will take a wee sip now.
Okay. Maybe make me a constitution save.
What on earth has he given me?
Convenient that that mug says Mr. Happy.
Oh, nice. This tea is delicious. It tastes like nothing you ever tasted before. It's such a complex flavor rolling over your tongue, and when you swallow it, you start to feel calm and happy.
Oh, that's a very soothing tea. Is that like is that from across the continent somewhere? Some sort of, it's got a smoky texture to it.
It is one of the plants that our guides harvest.
Oh,
We have a lot of things that you can use medicinal.
oh no. Oh no. Please don't tell me this is a medicinal tea right now.
Yes, it's called sleep well tea.
Oh no. No, I didn't want any of that. I'll just put the tea down, not drinking anymore.
Okay.
Thank you kindly for your kind offer of a beverage.
He's going to show you his wares, and we switch over to the others who must have finished their stew by now.
Ooh, that was good. You know, a lot less spiked than I thought it was going to. So, now, we need to draw up sort of a game plan, right? If we're going to go find, some Briala tears, we're going to need to probably, I don't know, have a very long-winded talk about the maps and discussion. Well, I want us to do the opposite of what Dean McCracken would do, and let's just wing it. Let's just jump into the jungle. Head first. Guns blazing.
Oh, thank God he said it, because would have sounded bad coming from me.
You know, I like you. You have some sort of what's the word? You would do well in this jungle.
Thank you. I like you too. You have clearly an addiction, but that doesn't slow you down.
I am interested in everything that this place has to offer. Is that such a bad thing?
Well,
Not
all
at
those
all.
things have a lot of teeth.
I mean, this place has plenty to offer. It's good food, interesting people, snakes. So, if we were to say, just jump into the jungle right away, what would be the fastest route to get me some Briala tears? And preferably in such an amount that it looks like we're only taking about half is what I'm actually collecting. So that way I have, still plenty to make a profit and doesn't have to go to the university. I tell you, dorks ruin everything.
Well, it's hard to say exactly what the situation is at the jungle because of how the wild magic surges and well everything that dwells in the jungle. It's so dangerous and risky, but thankfully I go into the jungle a lot and I can traverse it and help you go through it, but I cannot tell you an exact measurement or either time or distance as to how you can get it fastest, but I can help you get there. A lot of people would not make it alive.
Well, I'm glad you're along. Speaking of people being along, I probably should see what Dean McCracken is doing, get her all wrangled up. By now, she's probably been given something that has some sort of drug in it, and now she's lamenting it.
If she doesn't have a guide with her, then she's probably going to die. I mean, she's fine. We can find her in the town.
No, it's fine. I've been vying for that position for years.
You feel more steady suddenly as the third eye on your brow closes and disappears like it never had been there, and the color starts to flow down and from your fingers, and you're no longer covered in fairy fire. Everything looks ordinary.
Oh, that might have been the strangest meal I've ever had. I stand up, and I'm going to just go drop my my unnecessary supplies, the change of clothes, etc. Basically, the main suitcase off. Always take an extra pair of underwear into the jungle, though. Never know when that's going to come in handy.
All the time.
Fantastic.
But load up with the crossbow, the whip, the daggers, the crossbow bolts, and this is like that moment where you like have like a close up of like Theo like strapping everything to himself, and then he looks into the camera and goes, "All right, let's get this baby done."
Oh, the tavern keep is again lazing at the bar and smoking and gives you this lazy wave as you leave.
I raise my eyebrow even higher than what it normally is and give a very sultry, lazy wave right back.
And she looks at Madame Grimbucket and Mila. Try to bring them back, please.
This time it will be different.
Hmm.
I'm gonna try and pick up a snake on the way out. We'll have borrowed snakes from.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
I'm
On
sure you will.
my way out of the door, I'm going to find the largest non-venomous snake that I can, and just kind of like wrap it up, sort of like kind of just like gently set it like over my arm, but just sort of surreptitiously right where my whip is.
Of course you can. This is D&D.
Of course. So,
Roll me an animal handling check.
You got it. That would be about an 18, please.
Oh yeah, the snake seems docile
Good.
for
So
now.
I take that up, and I look to my companions. So let's find that small pissed off gnome and jump into the jungle with not a single moment's warning.
Let's do it.
I
So-
approve of this plan.
I then run out in the streets and I begin looking for Demon Kraken like I'm calling a lost dog. Lydia! Lydia, where are you now, two girl?
Oh no, he's gonna attract one of the dogs.
Oh.
Do I have to roll an animal handling check for Demon Kraken?
No, you do not!
And suddenly you see a very sleepy looking Dean McCracken come out of a shop, and behind her is a man who is jotting down notes on the things that she said her faculty might need.
Cured liver, rose petals, and can I buy this book, please? I'd like to buy this book that I was reading.
I saw you eyeing the other ones. Would you like one of them as well?
No, this one here, it's got the information on the Briala's tears thing. I'll take it.
That makes 10 silver, please.
Yes. Here's a receipt. Just claim it from the university.
No.
I reach into my vest. and I
Cash
pull out a book.
first.
Reach out into my vest, pull out a copy of my book that I penned myself,
Mhm.
hand it to the guy, and say, "This will sell very quickly. Give it a read. Order some. It's published by the university. It's really good."
Give me a persuasion check, please.
You got it. How does a 12 float your boat?
He looks at you critically. 5 silver then. Says to Dean McCracken, and he takes your book and he holds out his hand.
I think I've got 5 silver. I'll have a little dig and see if I have got 5 silver. Oh, yeah, Christ, I do. I've got loads.
But I imagine it's like sometimes when you are at in a shop and some elderly person is in front of you and they start digging through all their pockets to get all the spare change.
I've got a purse on me somewhere.
Them out.
Should I just hold you upside down and shake you out?
You
or-
touch me and I swear to God,
10 copper and stuff.
you will feel the flames of my wrath. I tell you now, Theodore.
Oh, speaking of wrath, you know how I've been saying I was going to get you a whip, and I take the coiled up snake and I hand it off to Dean McCracken?
I don't want to whip. What do I need a whip?
No, trust me. Every jungle explorer needs a whip, and I look to Mila and Madame to kind of like back me up.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, nodding viciously. This is known. Like,
Is this
You know how they
clearly
bring a knife?
not? Is this clearly not a whip?
The snake looks at you and her
Very
tongue
effective.
darts out, tasting the air, looking at you with her staring, slit-pupiled eyes.
No. I'm just gonna put it down. No, I
it's a
don't.
very common substitute.
No. Thank you, dearly. Thank you. No, I'll be fine. I do not need a whip because I've got magic.
It's a magic whip. You
No,
don't want my fine.
it's
Fine.
just-
Bye, magic whip. Bye. No, sit well. That's fine. Not up to you.
Theodore, you're the worst. You're the worst.
I'm the best
No,
of you.
he
Noah.
isn't. You suddenly realize Theodore, he's such a good boy. He really is trying to help. And that snake, isn't it the cutest? With his little tongue sticking out.
Oh. Okay, yes. I suppose you're just trying to help, Theodore. I
Right.
suppose I can hold on to the snake for a little bit.
Magic whip, and yes,
It's clearly a snake, Theodore.
it's clearly a magic whip because remember, I could see magic for a few minutes.
I can always see magic, Theodore. This is... Ugh.
But the snake is really nice looking. And you think, this would make a splendid familiar, maybe. Look at this perfect emerald colored scales.
I don't actually know how to cast familiar, but I'll...
Well, you can.
It
Take
never
it.
occurred to you
Save it
before.
for me.
Always a good time to learn.
I'll just take the snake, and if it looks all cute and such, then I'll just put it in, like, I don't know, I've got like a bag or something. I'll just put it in a bag. There you go.
I'd like to pull out one of Margaret's many sort of sacks that she carries around with her. She used to use them for her children, but now, of course, she doesn't have any children left, so she offers you the sack to put the snake in, like a burlap snack. Like,
The snake
sack.
gives you this look of, really? Do you really want to put me in there?
Do you want to dangle?
That's
Because that's how you end up dangling.
Would you like to rest on a neck instead?
But I mean, it's bigger than me.
I like animals. They teach you things that you never thought you could learn.
You fight like a belt.
If you put the snake on your shoulders, Mila, it will allow it.
Yeah, I'd like to carry it like kind of like a loose scarf.
Yeah, you smell familiar to its mistress, so she just softly lopes around you, and now and then her tongue touches your cheek.
So, Dean, we have this brilliant plan. We talked about it for a very long time while you were gone. It's very well crafted. You were going which way? You said this way. She knows the direction, but we talked about it. It's a very intricate plan, a lot of planning. There were words said that meant that things were pre-planned. It's a great plan. So we're going right away. Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. I've got this book on Briala's tears that I found. Should help us out somewhat.
Oh, excellent. Love that. Love that. Every second of that. But it's better to find out hands-on, I find.
Yes, I believe you're right, Theodore. Why don't you lead on?
All right. Mila, lead on.
So Mila starts leading you out of the village, and I would like to have Madame Grimbucket make me a perception check.
Oh no. What did I do wrong?
Nothing. It's all good.
Sound like I've done nothing wrong. That's a
Oh.
2 total, but yeah.
Oh,
Double that one. Damn.
Yeah.
no way.
You are totally
no.
oblivious of your surroundings.
Oh, well, I just
There is a crying sound, but then you look up, and there is one of those brightly colored birds flying
I
over.
love those ones.
Here.
Oh, they're so good. What was I doing? I don't know what I was doing.
All is good.
Anyway, everything's fine. Everything is absolutely fine. Please do not be concerned. At all.
So you move out of the city, and at first you can hear your footsteps echoing on the wooden planks of the that the houses are placed upon. And after a while, there you go. Those wooden boards suddenly stop, and there are a few stairs, and there's a relatively steep climb up some stairs that are hewn out of the rock of this mountain, and you can already see plants clinging to that steep cliffside, basically. There is verdant greenery draping over it and hiding the harshness of the gray rock underneath. And you can also see the tiniest hints of blackness underneath the greenery, like something has scorched the rock, basically.
Ooh, that is steep. See?
The rain has stopped, but the air is humid and filled with the smell of water and greenery and spices. You hear the birds singing in the back. And yeah, and still a little bit of the waves from the channel that you cross to come here. As you leave Twigari, you climb up the steep mountainside, and after a while, the stairs end, and there is this very, very tight, small, slender path through the thick stumps of trees and undergrowth. And you see the wood elf in front of you with her slender form and her light feet just weaving through the greenery. Now and then looking back, making sure that you're still there.
I'm also using the orb of direction to make sure that I always know where north is. As I'm just looking around, trying to see if there's anything that shouldn't be stepped on, any critter or any plant or bulbous form of anything, really. Just trying to be very cautious. Half of it is because, you know, it's a dangerous place, but the other half is I want to just sort of look like I know what I'm doing, because I don't really often travel with a group of people like this, so I have to like prove myself.
Please roll me a survival check with advantage, because you use the orb and you are in your favorite terrain.
Okay. Ooh, that one fell off and was crooked. Oh boy. Thank goodness for advantage. Survival would be 16.
Very good. You feel secure in your knowledge of the jungle and that you can lead them to where you think Briala's tears might be the most likeliest thing to encounter. Oliver, you look like you want to say something. What is Madame Grimbucket doing?
Oh, just sort of following like a few feet behind Mila most of the time, sort of quizzing her sort of on where they're going. Like, so this is the path of death, am I right? Or is the path of death 2 miles along? I always get mixed up. We're constantly quizzing on left and right. Like, and that one, does that one eat when you touch it, or just when you're 2 meters away from it? Because I feel like I should know that by now. That's why I lost my third child, Grimble, and she doesn't stop talking the entire way, just constantly jabbing as she goes along. She clearly assumes that there's a higher bond of friendship between you than there is. On account of you being from the same place. Like, it's so rare to meet another adventuring woman in these parts. She says, you know, we should really stick together. You know, we should do more. After this, we'll do more. And just constantly like grab someone behind you, distracting you.
Throughout the whole thing, Mila basically always encourages trying things yourself, even if it's something that has the threat of killing you. It's like, you'll never know if you don't try it.
Oh, God.
That's what I said to my 5th son, Bongo, and you know what happened to him? Nobody knows. It's a funny story in the partnership.
So the 2 natives are chatting away and seem to be quite happy talking about this dangerous and deadly things. How do Theo and Dean McCracken feel about their new surroundings? It is exhausting climbing those stairs, especially for the Dean with her shorter leg. This is obviously has been built with medium-sized humanoids in mind.
She'll be using her quarterstaff to help her out. But she's very much wishing she'd taken the levitate spell.
I see. I bet you're feeling pretty stupid for not letting me have bought that baby harness back on the boat.
No. As it happens, Theodore, it's very kind of you to offer. But I prefer to keep my dignity at all times.
Well, let me tell you this, Dean McCracken. Nobody dies with dignity in the jungle.
Is that like a famous saying, or did you just make that up on the spot?
Oh, no, trust me. I've seen enough jungle-related deaths to know.
I'm a much time do you spend in the jungle, Fia?
How many time off requests did I put in last semester?
About 20.
About 20.
You turned up for a lecture.
Oh, see, since we go to a magic school, you know the very pretty illusions adjunct teacher?
You didn't even turn up for that one, did you?
Programmed illusion, the one spell that I've ever heard of. You must have noticed because my lecture sounded extra coherent that day.
But I wasn't in the lecture.
Well, see, that's why you didn't notice.
No one was in the lecture because you never turn up for your lectures, so the students don't bother.
Well, I'm sure whatever lecture she gave was spectacular.
She?
Well, I mean, because you have to program the illusion, don't you? I mean, you study magic. You go to
Are you telling me?
magic school, and you don't know how magic works. My goodness, do you hear this? She doesn't know how magic works.
Are you telling me that you pre-programmed a lecture to be given by someone other than yourself on that day?
I told her to wing it, and she did. And from what I heard, she did a very good job. At least 10 gold pieces worth of a good job.
Dean McCracken, you feel the effect of the tea starting to ebb away.
Yeah, I can tell that because of the
tranquility.
throb in my
Yeah.
temple.
Yes, tranquility fades with it.
But, you know, the moral of the story is programmed illusion is a hell of a spell, and will get you out of work. So,
What do you do when you're not teaching lectures?
when I'm not teaching lectures, and he just stops and just kind of like gestures around at his surroundings. What do I do? Let's see, Madam Grimbucket or Mila. Any guesses? Can you help our contestant out?
You're not a guide.
Gambles.
You have dice. What?
Yes, and yes, and I had nothing to do with that robbery at that casino a few weeks ago.
Are you,
What?
Are you some kind of thief, Theo?
I'm more of a historian than thief, but sometimes.
Very interesting.
What? Okay, look, our trophy case back at school with the old magic items and things that I brought back, those are real. Those are genuine. Those are about half of what I've taken back, and probably the less interesting ones.
Let's just carry on. Let's go and find the tears.
right.
I imagine that you two are making up the rear, right?
Yes.
Mila is at the front, and Ritter is Madame Grimbucket, and they are chatting away and just answered your question. You walk behind Madame Grimbucket, and Lydia, on Theo's shoulder, there is a mosquito. And as you look on, you feel the tiniest splurge of magic, and you watch that mosquito grow. First, it's just the size of maybe a penny, and then suddenly it turns apple-sized, and it turns a bright, bright neon yellow almost. Theo, on your right shoulder, there's a heavy weight suddenly.
Feel very heavy. Well, that's why you have to do breathing exercises when you increase in elevation. Jeez, my God!
Do I get rid of it? Do you want me to blast it off you?
If you are very, very careful, I'm very delicate. Just aim for the thing on the shoulder, not the shoulder. Just
You're
get
doing
it.
this, exposing your slender, lovely neck to the stinger of the mosquito.
Oh no.
You know what?
And it hits you.
Choices.
You feel the plunge in the side of your neck, and you lose
Got a bugger, everyone.
Ah, no, it's okay.
4 points.
How many hit points, sorry?
4.
4. Lovely. That is 1/5 of my hit points.
Would I?
Burning hands. Apparently, it's some sort of. Why aren't you doing?
Burning hands is a cone.
Yeah, I realize that.
Fantastic.
The compendium hasn't quite included all of the information. We need a
would you like to know?
dex saving throw is what we need. Give me 1 second. I'll just add that to the character sheet so that it rolls up automatically.
The Burning Hands is such a big cone that everyone in front of you has to make the dexterity saving throw.
That's fine.
It's
Oh boy.
Everyone make a dex save.
crazy.
Oh, that's a 6.
Hey, Sax.
That's a 6. Okay.
19.
A 19. 15. What is your DC?
Uh,
Kraken?
give me a second. Roll 20's just gone crazy. It would be
Oh,
okay. That's really broken it. It would be a DC 10. 10? No, that can't
a
be right.
DC 10 that cannot be right.
No, it's 14. It's
14. Okay. So everyone made it except for Theo and the mosquito. Let me check. Yes, and the mosquito. So make 2 damage. I think it's 2 of 3d6, right? Of fire damage.
I think it was 8 originally. I don't know because I've just refreshed, but yeah, 8.
8 damage.
Yeah, I just rolled it straight from the compendium, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. And so Theo takes 8 damage, and Mila and Madame Grimba get 4.
Ah, you son of a... Madam, like, pulling out her hair. Like...
It's enough to kill the mosquito. So basically,
You're very welcome.
Lydia stands there. Would you like me to describe what your burning hands look like, or would you like to do it yourself?
Oh, no, I mean, I can definitely. It's like it shoots forward from my hands like this, and it's like a thin, like dragon fire, sort of like that cones outwards into a billowing like flame that probably gets to about 5 foot in radius by the time it finishes. But it is focused on the mosquito.
Will you roll me 1 die 100, please?
Of course I can. That sounds fun.
I want to point
And
out, I only have 8 hit points left.
and no one knows because you don't have a life scale on top of
He looks
This
fine.
is an MMO.
He looks fine.
You wrote it right. Ah, very nice. The fire is a different color than it normally is. If it's normally normal fire color like reddish and orange, it turns a bright blue and it burns pretty hot. And as it hits the flowers and greenery around you, everything bursts into starts to bloom, even things that normally don't. So even the ones hit by the magic, you are still burned, but afterwards you are covered in soot, and you have like small flowers sprouting out of your clothes, as if someone had sprinkled seeds and suddenly made them explode. The mosquito getting hit by the fire basically it more or less explodes. And so Theo is not only covered in soot and flowers, but also covered in neon yellow slime.
All right, so I just sort of have this just sort of explosion of events. Theo just sits down on the steps and says, "I need to take a 5-minute break. How about you guys?"
Yes, I should have probably been a bit more clear that things like this happen a lot here in the jungle, and we need to be careful.
Oh, you mean small pissed off gnomes tried to kill you with their magic? Yes, I'm
Sometimes,
starting
yes.
to notice this.
If the
That's
weather's
not
right.
the weirdest thing that I've seen out here, believe me.
Actually pretty tame.
Yeah.
But if
Demon
you
Kraken.
sit down and take a rest, you do that, we will all just wait for you.
I sort of have to rethink my life choices.
Oh my god, what happened to the snake that's around me?
Ooh, good question.
Oh no. Not with
Oh no.
The snake is a very tasty snack now.
Madam Snakington! No!
Because I was thinking like I was gonna refer to the snake like, isn't that right? Oh.
No! That's unfortunate.
Demon Kraken,
There's a tasty smell of charred meat.
I took a quick lick.
Quotation
and then
marks,
I
tasty.
dropped it.
Lydia, you've ruined my clothes. You have given me several severe burns. You have ruined your magic whip that I was so gracious enough to give you. And out of character, Scrat, I swear to God, I'm going to remember this.
Oh, sorry there, Theo. Sorry, did I hit you with that? I was trying to get the little mosquito for you.
Now, it can't be that bad. Madam Greenback, I'd like to go over, lay hands, and cast Cure Wounds on Theo.
Oh,
Oh.
thank you.
How much do you heal him?
It's going to be...
Please say all of it.
Oh, no. 2 plus 3 so for the cycle of life is 5 in total. You're welcome.
How you roll me a D100? Just
Oh,
just for fun.
If it blows up, I'm so sorry. 40.
40. Scott gave me his wild magic table. Let's see if his is.
Yeah. Ours, I mean, if you want, ours actually goes up to about 274 now if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, then let's do 274. But you lose. Please roll 3d6 for me.
Oh, no. This sometimes happens, I'll warn you. 7?
So for 7 rounds, so basically like half a minute or something, you lose all sense of smell. The tasty smell of charred snake is suddenly gone from your
no.
nostrils.
How will I judge my many herbs and spices to feed my horde of children?
But you're kind
well,
of glad that you don't smell the burnt slime of mosquito.
Oh, well, I guess I'm not bad. I'll live. She's slowly batting her nose if it's not working properly. You know, it sometimes happens. Sometimes it falls off, so actually we're winning here.
Oh, thank you. That's
I'm
much
still holding
better.
on to you. I'm still touching you softly.
Oh, that's fine. It's nice. It's soothing, actually.
Enjoy the caress.
After that happens, I'm going to cast Detect Poison and Disease.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to last for up to 10 minutes, just to make sure that we don't run into any other trouble.
Okay.
So, 30 feet around me, I can sense the presence and location of poisons, poisonous creatures, and diseases. 30 feet around me.
Mm-hmm.
The spell can penetrate most barriers, but it's blocked by 1 foot of stone, 1 inch of common metal, and a...
Okay. You
Stuff like
feel
that.
several pings basically going off on your radar as you extend your senses out in the jungle, and you feel several sources of poison, small creatures and plant-based toxins basically.
You look worried, Mila. What's on your mind?
There's a lot out here that might hurt us, and I think I know where some of them are. We need to be careful.
Yes. Careful.
Yes, you can never be too careful.
No,
We
never.
could be too careful. I've seen a person die right in front of me from being too careful. He would not run away.
You know what? Happens a lot. I mean, really, all you can do is just panic slowly and wait for the inevitable. Shall we? Lead on, Mila.
Head right on.
Mhm.
Or, not straight if it leads me to poison. Just I'm moving.
Very specific.
Fantastic. So Mila leads you on with this, her own personal surety, basically, weaving through the underbush. And for a while, like several hours, you are underway. And then I would like you all, or everyone who wants to make another perception check. As you are looking for people.
I rolled really well. 23.
I'm not looking around at anything. I'm just watching Theodore.
I am picking off the flowers in my clothes and weaving it into a small flower crown.
Okay.
Upon its completion, I turn, Dean McCracken, I think we've got on off to the wrong foot for the last 5 years. And I extend the flower crown.
I'll prestidigitate his clothes clean.
Oh, thank you. That doesn't do much for the charred skin, but I appreciate the gesture.
I'll prestidigitate his skin clean.
Oh, no,
You
that's
look-
just playing it. Mm.
You look perfect now. I mean, there are still blisters and some reddened skin, and there are holes in your clothes where the fire burned them away. But you are as pristine as you were the morning when you stepped from the ferry.
Don't worry, those blisters won't get infected.
Probably. I mean, there have been occasions.
Yes, because you
Honest.
cauterized the wounds, I noticed.
You gotta watch. The dig ones get in there and they just come right out again.
Ooh,
Take
Lovely.
your tendons with them.
that is horrifying.
Very rare cases.
But it's exactly what you'd expect out here.
The ones you don't expect that'll get you.
So now, do we need to find some sort of dryad's family or something to, acquire these tears?
I hear if you beat them with a stick gently, the bride will cry enough to produce the tears. Gently, mind.
Oh,
If we find
We're not beating any dryads, and we're definitely not killing anybody's family. I know where you're going with that.
Close-minded, but we'll go with it.
not intentionally, we don't kill families intentionally.
right, yes, got that. Don't
I mean, it does
kill.
happen.
Not
Perils of living in the jungle
by
and
accident,
being a tree person.
without wanting to.
Just prepare yourself for the possibility that you may
Yes,
need
it
to beat the
happens.
tree family's bird family to death.
And they cry.
At the moment, you're standing at a part of the forest where it's pretty steep. So you're standing basically slightly with one leg much higher than the other when you stand sideways. And you are crowded in by the greenery. You don't see anything around you. The sight is vastly diminished. It's dim light in here and difficult terrain, but you made good way because you have a guide, and Madame Grimbucket is helping along as well. And Mila is trying to lead you to the closest source of where tears might have fallen, and there might still be some left.
As we're getting closer and closer, I turn to everyone and say, "Okay, it might be best, since we are so far into into this terrain that we do not understand very well, to be very quiet." So
You know what? Absolutely, Mila. You know what? The first thing I said when you get into the jungle is that we should be very quiet and not have any loud conversations. You know, you are just so wise. I just love being part of a group. Can I tell you? Can I reinforce how right much I love being?
I put my hand right there.
I'll keep a sleep spell ready.
Get it ready quietly.
I love the soft touch of your hand, Mila.
Thank you. You know, some people say it's too rough, but
Take very good care of them.
I use a lot of ointments from the forest. Sometimes it doesn't work very well, but most times it's okay.
I would love to be quiet. I would just want to reinforce just how much I'm enjoying being here. Madame Ruka talks loudly all the time. It's just one of her many. Picked it up over the long years raising children. You just have to have a loud voice and repeat yourself constantly.
Mila and Madame Grimbucket are arguing, and Bean McCracken, being the veteran magic user that she is, preparing the incantation in case some trouble crops up. And what is Theo doing after having woven the flower crown? He got pretty silent.
Theo is Theo is just sort of thinking about should they have to run into any dryads, he's sort of, you hear him kind of muttering, oh, sorry, I was thinking of a non-violent, he says as he turns to Dean McCracken,
Hello.
way of possibly generating some tears. It's a little story I'm concocting. It should be something beautiful.
Are you going to make them cry out of something beautiful?
I think he's going to tell them his life story, and they'll just weep. They'll just
You know, it is pretty tragic. Did you know that I was actually raised by penguins?
I don't know what a penguin is.
Imagine an ostrich, but not.
Almost sad lecturer.
Actually, this is a perfect time to demonstrate my lecturing abilities.
Oh no.
So, a penguin is like a little bird that lays eggs. You can usually find it around most farmlands. They make this sort of sort of sound. They've got these sort of funny red gloves on the head.
That sounds very plausible.
Let's see here. Penguins are known to be very snappy dressers. They mostly come in browns. They're an excellent snack. In my family.
No, this is all wrong, Theo.
Are they feathered?
Yes, of course. No, they have scales actually.
No, they don't.
Interesting.
And the correct word is penguin.
I say in Elvish to Mila, I'm really just doing this to bother her.
Oh. So wait, they are not actually scaled and brown?
No. Penguins are actually Arctic living creatures. Though she thinks that I can't tell the difference between a penguin and a chicken.
That is a good one.
Thank you.
I will play along.
Thank you. So, and then, sometimes you can will find illegal penguin fighting rings, which are bad.
No, you won't.
This all sounds very familiar to me. I must have read it somewhere.
Yeah, you've probably found.
You're
people...
talking about cocks.
Oh, Dean,
well, now you're on my level.
goodness, language.
No, you're talking about cocks, cockfighting.
What sort of books were you reading in that man's shop?
Sounds very familiar.
There are some suggestive books in that shop.
No, like the male version of a hen, a cock.
Oh, I see. I thought you were just. No, pretty sure that's penguins.
I think he's right. I think it is penguins. Three people agree here.
Has anyone still got detect magic working?
No.
It's been hours. It's
Good. Don't you worry about that.
No, that wasn't
Could you
even.
hear the thunder crashing?
Yes, yes, you do.
Sorry for it being so loud. So it is starting to pick up to rain again. The light goes dimmer and dimmer underneath the canopy, and water starts to filter down to you. And I would like all of you to make perception checks.
You got it.
Kind of good history.
Natural 20.
Ooh, I got. Let's see here. Double checking quick. That is an 18 for me.
Mm-hmm.
18 for me as well.
Nice.
Number buddies.
Yay.
And what did Mila roll?
Natural 20.
Natural 20, fantastic. You see the signs that the plant life here starts to change. You're getting awfully close to a part of the forest that is awakened, where trees have a will of their own and are not necessarily bound to the place where they spring up. And you can see some vines in the undercrops starting to move towards you, as can those that rolled over 16. The jungle seems to crowd in on you for one moment.
I'm ducking behind Mila.
Okay, everyone, just stay close and stay quiet. Let's try to be very, very cautious.
Why are we being quiet now?
No,
She's right. We should be cautious.
Is anyone suddenly getting very afraid of enclosed spaces? What do they call it? Arachnophobic.
No, that's claustrophobic.
No, that's the fear of spiders.
No.
I also say in Goblin, I love messing with her.
That's some look of appreciation to Madame Grimpacket's eyes. Not many people speak the noble tongue of Goblin, which is quite impressed when she finds someone who does.
I had very strange electives in school.
Teach some of my own children, Goblin. Difficult language. A lot of ums in it. A lot of guttural noises.
Yeah, but with Theo speaking, it sounds more like that was there.
Gives something to aspire to. She's very impressed. Starstruck.
It's very pronounced. Yes.
Here, the vines are getting closer. You see them sneak over the floor your way. What are you trying to do? Will you stand your ground? Are you trying to avoid them? What is the game plan here?
I am going to seize Dean McCracken under both arms
Mhm.
and hold her like Simba in Lion King style towards the tree line and say, I have a small, angry gnome who exudes fire and I'm not afraid to use it.
Oh, no,
Dean
it's like fire.
McCracken, do you let that happen? Do you allow it?
I suppose I do.
Okay. Interesting. Make me an intimidation check.
All right.
I suppose.
Oh, that's not good. That would be a 9.
The greenery does not seem impressed by your gnome wielding
drop her.
abilities.
I just dropped her.
Would I be able to find any would I see any sort of plant or anything around me that I would know would make a lot of smoke if I burned it?
Oh yeah, with your natural 20, you see indeed a form of moss that you can rip down from a tree bark and set on fire to create smoke. You also see another site. It's not a real path, but more like where animals pass through and push the foliage aside that you could move through and possibly evade the sentient vines.
So these sentient vines, they're walking towards us, right? And I'm pointing at them. Whilst Mill is making her attack, I'm going to start spell casting.
Okay, go ahead.
No, it takes a moment to cast.
Okay, all right then. So, Mila, you grab the moss.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to use my tinder box to sort of light it up a little bit, and I'm going to turn to everyone and say, come on, we need to move very quickly because these vines are moving, but they're kind of slow, but we need to make way. And then I'm going to toss the moss in front of the vines to sort of let the heat get to them and also make it smoky in case anything's looking this way.
Yes, that's perfect. Just what I needed. And she's going to touch her hands to her hat, which also happens to be her arcane focus. And a line of roaring flame 30 feet long and 5 feet wide is going to erupt from my hat into the vines.
Oh, little fire Daryl, you. Do the vines have to make dex saves?
Yes, they do.
All right then. And your DC was 14, right?
It is.
So now everyone can hear the sweet sound of falling dice. Yeah, none of them made it, so deal your damage.
Full 10 damage to all of them. Using Aganazar's Scorcher. Now this spell, Theo, I learnt it way back when I was a teenager. From Aganazar himself.
The vines start to burn and they ripe, and you hear a high piercing... It's just at the edge of your senses, basically, like a screech. But they draw back from you. Although the ground slightly shakes as they disappear into the foliage.
Come on, let's move. And I dart towards the pathway that I saw.
Yep, already moving.
I linger for half a second and I point into the woods, into the jungle. I told you! You silly bastards didn't listen. See what you get?
Now, Theo, remember what I said about dignity? Do you reckon you could put me down again now?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. And I set her down and just kind of adjust the flower crown on her head.
I imagine it's sitting around the hat. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true. You look adorable.
of course I look adorable! This gnome is old, by the way. She's like 320. She's like proper wrinkled skin, like... Of course I'm adorable!
That's pretty spry for a gnome.
Oh, maybe I read a different book. I thought they only lived to around 350.
Did they change that? I thought they lived like over 700 years.
Ah!
Like elves.
I don't know. Let's get a quick reference. I might change her age.
Just age in a second. Just bam.
Bam.
In my world,
No, this is what you do
very
to her,
young.
Theo.
Wild magic surge.
Yeah.
No, this is just simply Theo's presence that ages her.
You can basically see the gray hair cropping up.
Yeah, just sprouting everywhere.
Theo messes with her, says something about like the penguin thing, and then there's a new wrinkle that forms.
Do we have that on the wild magic table? Maybe we should add that.
What's that?
People getting gray hair and wrinkles.
I mean, if it's not there already, I'm sure. Hang on.
Add it. So never mind then. You following Mila into the side way, or are you trying to stay on the main path? Main path in.
I'm following her.
Mila, where are you leading them?
If I see that this is where wildlife has gone through, then I imagine their fight or flight response would take them to better places.
Mhm.
So I follow through this path for a little while and just sort of track whatever footsteps I see and find the best way through.
Okay. The beginning is easy because you had a natural 20 to see it and find it. Give me a survival check to see how well you can stay on that makeshift path.
Okay.
Is Madame Crimbucket proficient in survival?
Oh, let me just check. Oh,
If I'm looking,
she is.
If you want, you can help Mila because you are both double tagging.
I would love to help her.
Then Mila
Lots of
gets.
advice. Not
Although
so
you-
concern.
Yeah,
are you gonna roll separately or do I get advantage?
you get advantage on your roll.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay. 16.
Very good. You have a feeling that you are well on track. But you can see signs of the forest being lively around you, but nothing seems to crop up to attack.
Hmm.
You can avoid it. Let's put it like that.
Okay, I'm going to try and be very stealthy. Like I'm going to make it so that every step I take is really gentle, and wherever I go, I tell everyone to sort of go in my footsteps.
Mhm.
So I look and see where there isn't a twig to step over, where there's like a soft patch of moss or soil, that kind of thing. Just trying to be very quiet.
I just stampede after her, just resolutely ignoring. But stepping on twigs. My grandbuck has been living in this, so stepping on twigs for 40 years now. It's an old goblin. So she's just trampling after her, giving her motherly advice.
I wish I could
You
cast.
know, those trousers are too short on you, and, you know,
I wish I could cast
Tie your
Pass
hair
Without
with different ways
Trace.
I burst through a nearby thicket,
Mhm.
and I say, sorry I had to drain the snake. What did I miss?
don't drain snakes. That's very dangerous.
No, he was
Many are poisonous.
listening to the trees, Grimbucket.
Well, don't do that either. They'll touch you. They'll get you.
He was watering the flower beds.
Don't do that either. They'll get up.
No. He was This is gonna go on and on and on. No. He was manhandling the tortoise.
No, don't
Oh,
do that.
I
They
didn't do
may-
that. I wasn't that. Wasn't that one.
They have been known to explode. Tortoises in these parts. Actually, do not manhandle them.
At least there are no kraken beside.
Okay.
The neck.
You could have been in a very great danger there for a second. Watering or manhandling. No.
There is a touch of leaves on your shoulder, Theo. After
Oh,
you break
God.
through the underbrush.
I look, and I'm just like, there's this moment where I just sort of like make peace with the world. I'm like, this is probably going to kill me, and I turn to notice whatever this sort of strange thing is.
On top of this bush, basically, there sits this tiny creature completely made out of plant material. It is covered in leaves and has this eyes that look like polished, I don't know, seeds or something. Wooden, but also shining. And it looks like you, and its fingers are like leaves, and it's touching you.
Hello? I'm sorry if I did something to your people just now. I did not see. It was not intentional.
It looks at you with this, as far as you can tell, puzzled expression.
I'm ready to fire blast it. You just tell me.
I turn around immediately at the sound of someone trying to fire blast, and I look. I see the creature. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do I know what this is? Can I make a roll or something?
I'm pretty well versed in nature too. Would I be able to get a roll on this too?
Yes, you can. Everyone who is proficient in nature can roll on nature.
Okay.
That'd be a 9.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a natural 1.
Some form of plant creature?
I can blast it, Tori. I'm ready.
No.
I think we should
It
blast
looks
it.
pretty harmless. It looks like it basically looks like a leafy toddler.
Don't give it a chance.
If you blast me again, Dean McCracken, I'm taking the flower crown back.
Okay, no fire.
None.
Maybe
And-
something else.
I'm going to gently scoop the little guy off me if I can.
You
And
can.
I just sort of, hello?
It comes
I-
very close to your face and puts his leafy hands on your face and looks at you with this.
This is about the strangest thing that's ever occurred to me, and I've done some weird things.
Touches your face.
No. I just sort of no. I kind of tuck the little plant creature under me. No.
The creature stops touching your face and looks at Lydia and like,
No. It's bad. Fui. She controls Fui.
Sing it a lullaby. Babies like lullabies.
and then it tucks a little flower from your vest. Looks at it and like, and as it eats it, you see this sharp rows of teeth.
I hot potato it, like just like as a reaction,
Mhm.
just hot potato it over to Dean McCracken.
Magic blast! Magic blast!
Oh no! Fire away! By all means.
While I was doing that, I was creating chromatic orbs.
Yay.
Let's throw one. I'll decide what they. So I'm going to make them probably cold damage because Theo said no fire. So like just like these orbs of ice are just gonna be like.
Fantastic. Okay, so you cast, and what did you roll to hit? Oh no, it has to do with dexterity save.
No, it's an attack roll. I rolled a 23. I made
yeah.
the assumption that a 23 would hit.
Yes, it hit. It hits.
Thank
and you
God.
did 10 damage, right?
17.
17. So this little tiny toddler creature gets hit by the chromatic orbs. And in midair, being hit, the movement stops basically, and it turns to ice and breaks, and ice clatters to the ground.
Well,
And as you do, you hear the ground shaking. And one of the tallest trees nearby starts to uproot itself. And its roots start to spring up and wrap around Dean McCracken and at least try to. And start squeeze. Everyone roll me initiative.
I'll kill a few
As
babies
you
in my time.
anger it, the forest.
Ooh,
Oh no!
that's a solid 6.
How about 12?
So Theo has a 6 and a 12 for Dean McCracken.
Burning hands.
I gotta get a dice that's not so cursed.
What has Mila?
19.
19. And Madame Grimbucket?
Fine.
A 9. Oh dear.
I'm just very slow. I'm shocked at the baby murder, honestly.
I can understand.
Oh, I've got no inhibitions.
Taking it back. I've always killed a few in the past, but they've always been mine, you know?
Alrighty then.
That's true. Sorry, I forgot to mention earlier on that Archmage Derek in chat, don't know who he is, gifted me a nat 1 for your use at some point, Tahina.
Oh yeah, nice. I'm going to use that.
Archmage Derek, you are a fiend, whoever you are.
All right then. I'm trying to find the right music. Just a second, bear with me. Scott gave me control. Let's go with this one. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
It's not very combat-like, right?
It's combat-like enough.
Okay, let's go with this then. So, the tree has the higher initiative, and as I said, it's going to uproot itself, and its roots zone in on Lydia, and it is trying to wrap you up in the roots. So I'm going to make an attack. And with an 11, I know the roots just spring up from the ground, wrap around your tiny gnomish form, and start to squeeze around you. And you take 5 points of bludgeoning damage as you are grappled by the tree.
Well, she's with God now.
And you really can feel as it constricts your
Yes, I feel that.
your ribs crack a bit. Next up is Mila, the wood elf.
Quick question, Tahina. Is it within 5 feet of me?
Yes.
I used my reaction because I'm a scout to move
Yeah.
15 feet away from it without provoking attacks of opportunity.
All right then. Because it is difficult terrain, you can only move half your speed, so you will only be able to move away 7 foot.
All right.
But you get away from the root, at least. Springing up.
I
Yeah.
actually have a question.
Yes.
Now, because it's my favorite terrain, it says
Mhm.
difficult terrain does not slow my group's travel. Does that also count for combat situations, or just when we're traveling through?
I would say it normally helps, and that's why you made good way into the forest. But now, in this chaotic circumstance where you can't really guide him, I'd say
Yeah.
no, does not really
Everyone's on
help.
their own.
For now.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
see these vines slash roots slash whatever coming to
Mhm.
grab Lydia, and I'm gonna shoot with my arrow. Right
Go
away.
ahead then.
With my bow, rather. That's a 19 to hit.
That hits.
And it's also going to be with my Colossus Slayer
Ooh.
skill, which means I get to do more damage.
Yeah, it's a big fucking tree.
Ooh, double sevens.
Nice.
4, so that's 18 damage.
Oh, sweet. You see as your arrow hits the root and bright green-colored green sap is flowing out of it as the arrow sticks it, and the tree shrieks, and the root rises, and basically Lydia has been flailed around in the air, wrapped in the coils of the tree's roots.
Do I know what? Would I know what these kinds of trees would be most susceptible to?
Fire.
Well,
How about that?
I did not guess. Yeah,
That's
that's my
no
turn.
plans.
Yeah, there.
Are you going to do anything else?
That's my turn.
Very
Yeah,
well
that's
then.
my turn.
Then the tree, or maybe another tree, is at it again, and you see one of its roots is trying to wrap around Madame Grimbucket, but you are a slippery little goblin, and you see it coming, and you just duck out of the way and hop over it, like it's some kind of jumping game.
Honestly, if I second husband.
Yes. He always complimented you on your spryness of.
He did. We danced till morning.
Yeah. And then, as you are jumping up, you are being caught by a vine, like a
Oh, good grief.
liana that's hanging down from the tree. So basically, the tree grabs you from the top. So you jump up and right into its clutches. And you are now considered grappled as well. And you get 5 points of bludgeoning damage as the tree basically just clumps down on you. And then it is the Dean's turn. Dean McCracken, what are you doing with that root?
Well, as I'm bound, I'm going to like start muttering again. My eyes have frozen tiny. And as I can't move my hands though, so my eyes just roll up into my head, and you'll see orbs just appear around me, bright, burning, red, orangey orbs that fall to the ground around me onto the roots.
Oh, nice.
For a 19 attack.
A 19 hits.
Dealing 18 fire damage.
Oh, sweet. So you set the root on fire that is grappling you.
Yes, I do.
So the
Because I am a sculptor of spells as an evocation wizard, so I can create a pocket of safety within my own magical effects.
Good. Very good.
Yes, I'm ready for your wild tree.
Good to know. So you cast a spell. Are you using a bonus action?
Does that get the thing off me?
No, it does not.
Then I'll just sit here and wait to do it again.
Okay. The smoke is burning your lungs as the slippery root is wrapped around you. The smoke is wafting up this arid smell of the living tree being burned, and it's flailing you around through the air, and you get slightly seasick, tree sick, air sick. I don't know. Motion sick. And Madame Grimbucket, you are grappled by parts of the foliage. The tree has bent down and just clamped some of its branches around you and is trying to squeeze you.
Doesn't like this.
You feel like one of your toddler's diapers being
It's a very uncomfortable
after washing
sensation.
day.
My third child was half orc, and you know what? It reminds me of this. She sort of pulls out her trusty shiv from her dress. Her trusty shiv given to her by her third husband, Randolph. Pulls out the shiv from her desk.
Okay.
Screams out. No, what would have gotten to a tree? Something on the lines of, "Oh, you horrid piece of what you think?" She casts hex on the tree and stabs it with a knife.
Oh, nice. Then
she lays
go
down a
ahead.
curse, hexing its strength, I think, and also means to take slightly more damage if I do hit it with a weapon attack.
Nice.
So she lunges in with this as a main action with this dagger of hers.
Also, Scrat, would you be so kind and roll me a D200 and something?
D274.
Ah, shit.
Yes, I can do that for you.
Well, the attack roll is an 11.
That's a high number.
Oh, yes. You hit for an 11, and you unfortunately you're not able to pierce the bark of the branches that surround
Trusty
you.
shiv. Failed me, trusty shiv.
They're pretty dense, basically.
I'll get them by attrition.
So on 249, through some sort of weird admin error, target is recognized as a wanted criminal and gets challenged by bounty hunters in whatever town they find themselves.
This is going to be interesting when you come back to Trigari.
Long and storied life.
Oh no.
And would Madame Grimbucket please roll me a D274
Can do.
for the hexing?
I don't know how to do that actually. Can someone do it for me?
Or you roll
Slash-
me a d100 and then I use my homebrew table.
Do you want 100 fine?
For rolling on roll 20, it would be like one /r space 1d and then the number of sides you want.
Yes.
Cool, I can do that instead. Well, 274, right?
274.
87.
87. Interesting. So.
All food in 50 yards spoils.
Oh no, my sandwiches. And the snake.
You see the leaves on the branches that hold you start to wither and fall down like a fake autumn that normally never reaches the jungle.
Take that, you leafy garbage.
But it still grabs you, and the tree seems even angrier now.
Probably would be. I get that. Seems reasonable.
Theo, it's your turn. You just run away. What are you going to do?
I didn't get very far. I turn about and I go, ha! Karma is a no Boston means no raise. And I pull out my whip, and I am going to try to lash out with my whip and get a good hold around Dean McCracken and yank her out of the grasp of the tree.
Oh,
Ooh. Then do
how would you like-
athletics check to yank it out.
Nat 20, how about?
Yeah, very good. And can you also do me a dexterity saving throw?
Oh, absolutely. That'd be a 16.
A 16. So you grab on Lydia's flailing feet that stick out of the coil of root that keeps her airborne, basically. And you yank her out, being helped by the dripping tree sap that the wound that Mila created drew from the root. And as Lydia falls down on top of you, the tree sap falls on you. You are set on fire by the flailing root that is still burning.
Without panicking, Theo looks at Lydia and says, I hate you. And I'm going to use my bonus action to dash. But the dash turns into more of a tumble as I just start rolling on the ground in the foliage.
Yeah. And you manage to smother the flames, and you only get 1 bludgeoning damage and 1 fire damage.
Lovely.
But yeah, flailing tree roots. Am I right? Burning tree roots. Am I right? For one moment, there's an odd quiet as everything seems to freeze and gets crystal clear as another wild magic surge from the star is being triggered, and everything is slowed. But as everyone is affected by the slow spell, we will keep on going as before, but just imagine like this drops crystallizing in the air of the tree sap as it falls down, and the fire moving in this weaving slow way, the smoke being collected in the small clearing as the roots flail, and Theo and Lydia are on the ground tumbling.
A very slow shake of the head from Lydia as she looks at Theodore.
Did I get it? Am I still on fire?
You are no longer on fire.
Great.
Oh. And top of the round, it's the tree's turn. And it just lost its small gnomish companion, and it's trying to re-grab her. But in the thick of the smoke and the haze, the roots flail down beside you but don't manage to grab onto you. Maybe it's also confused because Theo holds you in his arms. Who knows? Mila, it's your turn.
Same tree where I had shot it before. If I see like an open wound or something, I'm going to sort of try and shoot into it again, even though there's already probably an arrow in there.
Go ahead. You can also aim for the heart of the tree for its
Oh
trunk.
no.
I'm aiming nowhere.
Did you roll a natural 1?
Natural 1.
Should I be really mean and see how big the chances are that you hit Madame Crimbucket in the middle of the tree?
Arrow's bigger than her.
Nah.
It's the universe's call.
It's I'm nice and merciful. Just shoot straight up.
Life flashes before our eyes very slowly.
Anything else that you would like to do?
Is the tree very close to me, like right next to me?
Oh yeah, you are
Or-
all very crowded in.
Ooh, yikes. Moving around might be a little bit of a risk. I'm just gonna move around it to a side that's not burning in case it tries to grab me. I don't want to burn at the same time.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna go there and then I'm just gonna sort of stand there, just like walk slowly
Mhm.
and just chill.
It's not a T-Rex, you know. So see you. But yeah, you as you start moving out of the range or trying
Oh,
to
no.
move out and
Same
You're
range,
saying-
just
okay.
just not the burning side, just the other side.
I see, just slightly around.
Yeah.
The flailing, burning root still tries to hit you as you pass it by, but it doesn't.
Whew.
And then it's Madame Crimbucket. The tree starts to squeeze you.
Madame Grimpocket always knew it would end in the jungle one way or another.
Its constrictive embrace gets tighter, and you feel your bones ache and groan as it deals you another 4 bludgeoning damage as you're being
Yeah.
slowly squished
Bucket.
to pulp.
Okay, yeah, she's not doing well here.
Oh, no.
So what Madame Grimpocket decides to do in her jungle madness, she uses her magic, reaches down to the flames conjured by the McCracken, and uses control flames to pull them up around the tree and just turn it into a conflagration.
You can do that on your turn, but Lydia is first. So the
Oh,
tree's
sorry,
starting to squeeze. It's
My bad.
perfectly
I'm
fine.
sorry,
The
carry on.
tree's turn is like to tighten further around you. And then it is the Dean's turn, and after that you can, of course, do that.
No, so I couldn't see
Yes,
the order.
It's okay.
I think the dean is sort of like gripping hold of her hat again. And she like sort of bends down and she's doing the whole shaking thing as she's getting ready to let out another Aganazar Scorcher,
Oh,
which is a DC 14 save or 14 damage.
Remind me, how big was that blast? And are you aiming it so that the bottom of the tree is being hit, or are you aiming it so that Madame Grimbucket gets perchance hit as well? Because she is in the middle of it.
Yeah, no, it'll go into Madame Grimbucket, but again, that little pocket of safety will just open up around Madame Grimbucket.
Nice.
Is Mila in the way as well?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, well, there'll be a little pocket of safety around her too.
All right. The trees don't make their save.
They take 14 fire damage.
Fantastic. The one with the burning roots starts to crack and crumble, and with this sound falls over to the side, almost hitting Mila on its way as it crumbles. And you see that those were 2 intertwined trees, and the one left standing seems to shake in rage and mournful wrath as it squeezes Madame Grimbucket in its deadly embrace. Now it's your turn, Madame Grimbucket.
Sorry, I couldn't that's all.
Unless you want to move, Lydia. Or do
No,
both?
I'll stay where I am. It's fine.
So you're basically sitting on Theo's chest right now.
Yeah, I'll just sit there until he's ready to do whatever he's doing. The weird boy.
Fantastic. Okay, Madame Grimbucket.
Oh yeah, I'll just repeating the same action. She's doing her Briala Halo thing. She's gonna spread the fire onto the living tree.
All right then, start burning it.
Yeah. Slow motion
Yeah.
burn, you've been held to death.
I'm making a dex save, but yeah, trees are not known for being dexterous, right? How much damage do you deal?
I have no idea. It's a control flames cantrip. I'm just spreading the tree onto the tree, setting it on fire.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure it does any damage.
I'd say like, I don't know, 2d6 or something, like the bonfire, maybe? Yeah, let's
Yeah,
make it
sure.
2d6. So what did you roll?
Oh, sorry, what was the number?
2d6.
Okay, 4.
Mm-hmm. All right. You can feel the fire getting closer to you and scorching the tree that holds you. And are you also trying to free yourself, or are you staying complicit?
No, she's locked in this death grip with this tree. Like,
Mhm.
this tree must die or nothing.
Alrighty then. The
It's a
tree
matter of
seems
honor.
pretty much alive and spry,
Oh no!
but enraged by his partner being cut down. So, Theo, you have a miffed-looking gnome sitting on your breast, basically, as you tumbled, and you're no longer burning, but you feel quite bruised and put out.
Okay. Are there any more like little like flames nearby that are still sort of lingering?
Oh yeah,
That-
the floor
oh,
is studded with small burning
Alright,
pieces of
so
foliage.
I'm going to kind of roll from underneath Demon Kraken,
Okay.
kind of sending her tumbling, as I pull out a crossbow bolt
Mm-hmm.
and I sort of flick it through this burning sap
Mm-hmm.
as my bonus action load it on my crossbow,
All right.
and I'm going to take aim at the tree that is still a threat.
Yes, go ahead and shoot.
That's a solid 10.
All right. You don't hit, or let's say you do hit, but it does not seem to bother the tree in the slightest that you hit it with this flaming thing. It just brushes it aside with its flailing branches.
I look to Lydia and say, see, if we still had that magic whip, we wouldn't be in this situation. Yeah, gonna think next time before we burn magic whips.
Noted, Theodore.
I stand to my feet,
All right.
and that's it.
As opposed to,
Handstand. I can't fire crossbows from upside down.
of course.
Just common sense.
Lydia is no longer convinced that you possess something like that.
No, I'm not. The daft bugger.
It's the tree's turn now. And it is squeezing and contracting. And it deals another 3 bludgeoning damage to Madame Grimbucket, and it also starts to walk away. So it's moving
Honorable death.
through the jungle, and the ground is, as it steps up and out, there are the small roots flailing around, covering its tracks. Mila, it's your turn.
Well, the tree just stood up and started walking away.
Mhm.
That's weird to me, Nairi. But not weird to Mila, probably. So she's just going to, wait, is Grimbucket still...
Yeah. Still held in the embrace of the embrace.
Ooh, here's a question. Does the tree move away from me, and was it in my vicinity?
And what?
Was it in my vicinity? Was it 5 feet close
Yes.
to me,
Yes.
would I
it
be able
was.
to get an attack of
You
opportunity?
do get an attack of opportunity. As I think Theo is too far away because he tumbled away and used his reaction to move out of the tree's
Mhm.
range. And he took Lydia with him, so...
That's a 10 for
um,
the attack of opportunity.
Okay. You hit at the root, or at the tree's trunk, but you can't pierce its bark.
Okay.
And you just a few leaves flow into the air, slow fall down.
Hoping that they're not alive like that little creature from before. For my action, I'm going to try and shoot at what's grappling Madame Grimbuck.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So, yeah.
I give you disadvantage because you will have to try to pierce the part of the branches grabbing her without hitting Madame Grimbucket in the clutches of the tree.
Sure. Oh my god, that's a big difference. 11. Yeah, 11 to hit.
Why are you firing at me?
The arrow glances off the tree bark. You
Oh.
cannot hit it, but you did not hurt Madame Grimbucket, your friend, so that's something.
Yeah.
Swearing, cursing you from the.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to help you, and I move closer so that in case the tree moves away again, I try not to let it. So yeah, I'm moving closer again to the tree.
I want you to make me a strength saving throw. Oh no, an athletics check basically, because as soon as you step into the tree's wake, the small white tendrils of root that sprout from the earth are clutching at your ankles and try to hold you in place. Like an entanglement
Okay.
spell.
Athletics check, you said?
Mhm. Because
Okay.
you need brute strength to just barrel through and form the
Six-
tree.
16.
You manage so you see as you step in there, you with every step you have to rip your feet out of those white looking roots, and they cover your ankles, but you can manage to go through and you follow the tree, and the tree's not very fast, so you can keep up with it, no problem.
Okay.
Then it's Lydia's turn.
She's going to so you've jumped free, Mila. You're okay. Well, now it seems to me that Madame Grimbucket is still stuck in this tree. Now I could try and do the burning hands thing again, but the fire thing doesn't seem to be working too well. So I'm going to try and flavor this spell a little bit. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to dip my fingers into my water canteen, and I'm going to flick my ice knife at Madame Grimbucket.
Wait a second, what?
Hold on. The plan is that the piercing damage from the icicle hits Madame Grimbucket, but the explosive cold damage blows the roots away from her so she can burst free.
From this poor mortal coil, yes.
What was your intelligence again?
It's a 19. This is it's
Sound reasoning.
End my existence.
Oh, you
Uh,
have been
as
too
I-
long
uh,
behind the desk, man.
yeah. Oh, that is actually one of my flaws. That
That's perfect. Yeah, okay, go ahead. Take down
Does
the
a
tree.
13 hit you, Madame Grimbucket?
I think it does actually.
No, it does not, but it does. It would have hit the tree.
Okay, so I guess the 3 then will take the 3 piercing damage and then the 6 explosive cold damage.
So 9 damage in
Don't
total.
check Madame Grimbucket. It's 13, right?
Your AC is 16, right?
It's 13. It was 16 because they gave me leather armor for some reason, but I wasn't wearing that. So.
Okay. So then it does hit
FYI.
you.
So that be
Exactly hit your
3 damage then for Madame Grimbucket as the icicle hits her shoulder or something, and then it explodes into the tree, doing 6 cold damage to both the tree and Madame Grimbucket.
No.
But
Interesting.
that explosive damage, I'm going to make a little pocket of safety around Madame Grimbucket so she doesn't get hit.
Yes.
Nice. This is very much stick
wearing
and
a-
carrot all at the same
Great
time.
big ice knife on her shoulder.
It's fine, it will thaw.
It's being hit by the carrot.
It looks a little far.
Fantastic. So, Are you following the tree or are you staying where you fell down to the ground? You basically cast from the ground, right? Because you fell off Theo as he jumped up. Dean Lydia?
I've got a feeling she's sort of walking close. No, she is aware that she is knackered. She's going to go and stand behind Theodore. She doesn't want to be involved anymore. She's done.
I see. Very good then. Theo, it's your turn. The Dean stands behind you.
Okay, well, I'm about to quite literally blow her cover. I'm going to bonus action dash my way towards this tree.
Bugger.
Please give me athletic checks to see if you can barrel your way down through the entanglement area of the roots sprouting out of the ground, trying to hold on to Mila and now to you as you follow the tree.
20.
Sweet! So you can go through.
As I run, I'm going to do like a kind of cool like parkour off of a non-moving tree and use my whip to kind of try to grapple onto the back of the tree.
Oh, nice. Go ahead. Roll me an attack roll.
Ooh, it's high. Very high. 25.
Sweet. So without a problem, you start run. Your feet, you just rip them out of those little measly roots to try to hinder your way, and then you whip and jump on the tree, and now you hang there, holding onto the whip, holding onto the bark.
Yep. And I turn, and as I look back to Lydia, laughing, I go, "Haha! And you thought my adventures were stupid." And
This is the most stupid thing I've ever done, you Dylan!
Can't hear you over how cool I am, and that's the end of my turn.
And small shards of ice rain down as you say, "How cool I am!"
They glitter around me and just
From Lydia's ice knife, yes, because they're still in slow mo, right?
Right.
And
I look
airborne.
I look like a shoujo anime character. As
Yes, absolutely.
You look ridiculous!
So do you.
The tree notices you approaching and feels you trying to get its prey, and it decides to just smash its back against a tree beside it. And I would like you to make a dexterity saving throw.
Well, bye everybody. Oh no, that's not one.
You had to say it. You had to say.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Bye.
The tree indeed manages to just let itself basically turn slightly and fall back, and you are being squeezed between two tree trunks. And it deals you 10 bludgeoning damage.
Oh, lovely. I'm at 1 hit point, and
Oh no.
yeah. So it sounds sort of like, "Ha! You look screwy." Stupid.
And that is the tree's turn. Mila, you just saw this very cool stunt that Theo
My
pulled.
cat decided to visit me.
Support cat.
I throw this cat at the tree. No.
Maybe it can scratch it too.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe it does better than my arrows have been doing. So what's the situation? Okay, so there's.
The tree stopped in its tracks as it noticed someone landing on its back, holding on, and it just turned and let itself fall against another tree trunk. And you see and hear, especially Theo's cry of pain as he is squeezed basically between those two trees.
Ouch.
It's like a car fell on him.
That's rough. I'm going to. Oh, there's so much I need to do. I need to attack this thing, but I wonder. No, never mind. I'm just gonna try and do a straight attack, but I'm not gonna use. No wait, I'd have to do an action to let that up. Never mind. I'm gonna use my bow. I wanted to use torch,
Go
but
ahead.
I'd have to.
Give it your best shot.
13 to hit.
13 hits exactly.
Woo! Okay. So once again with Colossus Slayer, I'm gonna do a bit more damage. That's 9 plus 4, 13. points of damage.
Tell
on the
me how you, Colossal Slayer, slay this huge awakened tree that just crushed, or tried to crush Theo.
Getting inspiration from what Theo did, I'm going to sort of like hop up some of the roots that are trying to get onto me. I'm just gonna like step over them, pull back my bow, look at a part where I think it might take some damage, and then release my arrow straight into its bark
Mhm.
and kick off and land again.
Again, there is this boom, this shriek of the awakened plant as it gets rigid and then just falls with this groaning, mournful sound, pulling Theo and Madame Grimbucket with it. And dealing 3 points of bludgeoning damage to Theo. That is being basically like when you're grinding something and the tree falls. And 6 points of bludgeoning damage as the tree basically falls and splinters on top of Madame Grimbucket.
Me at 0.
Are you both knocked out?
Yep.
Ready to see some method acting?
Oh boy.
The sound of the dying tree echoes through the jungle. This Make me a dex save. You did jump up on it and shoot right at point blank range.
That's 14. Yeah. 14.
It's not graceful, but it serves its purpose. You jump away and clear and don't get smothered underneath the dying tree. So now...
Is Mila the only person who hasn't been hit so far?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Except for from you. From that burning hands.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's fine.
She is the one who she's the guide, one of the few guides, because she's the only one surviving things. And she leads people in the jungle, maybe? I don't know. So let me paint you a picture. You're standing on this very steep side of the mountain, surrounded by jungle foliage. There are several fallen trees because the flailing of the trees did also uproot and bend over normal plants, basically. You see this one burning and smeared with tree sap very close to Lydia, that is standing there, looking with her beautiful hat and the flower crown around the brim. And you see the splintered tree that has crushed Theo and Madame Grimbucket. What would you like to do? Is there anything that you can do?
Oh no, Mila, you tend to Grimbucket. I'll go and check out Theodore. I think he might need CPR. And she's gonna run over and like sit there. She's gonna be like, for all audible purposes, going, Nelly the elephant, get out of the circus. And then she's going to breathe into Theodore's mouth.
Mm-hmm. Give me a medicine check.
No.
You don't?
I use poison spray.
What?
You failed 2 death saves. Methinks.
There's something wrong. It's like the trees put some kind of spore in him. He's got some kind of terrible affliction.
Hey, Theo, make me another death save, please.
Oh no! No!
I'm dead.
No!
He's passing before my very eyes. He's going. He's gone.
It's tragic.
Oh my god.
Theo, you open your eyes and you see this brightly green canopy of leaves over you as you drift out of your body and you see your murderer. But then you drift away and the jungle breeze carries you away. to an afterlife full of gambling.
Terrified as I shove the greater healing potion that I'd bought down Grimbucket's gullet.
Your bucket gullet could be named for a saloon.
Yeah.
Put the whole bottle in there. That's how you drink something, right? I feed her.
Do you really do that?
No.
I feed some choking rolls. I know that.
I feed her the potion, and I'm just looking over where the dean is like exclaiming. Just first, I'm gonna make sure the Grimbucket's okay.
You look so salty, Derek.
Madame Grimbucket, you taste fresh herbs and some lemony aftertaste on your lips.
Lemonade.
And you wake up and you're in the arms of Mila.
Oh, my love.
friend.
No, it's too soon.
He has saved you from the grim grasp of wooden death.
We were meant to be, Mila. Just open. And you would save me.
You're alive.
Hold me, Mila. Hold me.
I'm gonna help Grimbucket up onto her feet, and then I'm gonna slowly start to like back away a bit because I don't know what's going on, and somebody just died, and I'm gonna go towards well, I don't know that he died actually. I just know that he's unconscious. I'm gonna go and be like, is Theo okay?
The wild magic swirls around you and a new wave crests. And Lydia, in your gnomish heart, and you have seen so many centuries, you're convinced that you are fulfilling an ancient Norman prophecy by your actions. You're totally sure that what you just did, it was meant. It was written. This is what the fates decided for young Theodore.
Yes, finally he is not going to stop being a drain on the academy, I say to myself, but to them I go, oh, it's terrible. There's spores been left in his very bones. Look at the green tincture of his skin. Oh.
Sounds plausible.
Can I roll an insight check on that?
Yes, please.
CPR. All right. You know what? No, I'm gonna trust Roll20 to do this for me. Insight. 22.
Oh, I rolled a 19 deception.
Oh.
You smell something. It's a fresh smell of bullshit.
Well.
Yeah, see now that's a real shame that he how did he die? Was he bleeding?
Oh, he's bleeding already.
Oh, yes, he's bleeding everywhere. Look, you can see where the tree's falling on him. This is true. I'm not lying here. This is true. I'm saying out of character, but I'm saying it in voice. This is true. I'm saying, look at all the blood. And I'm going to look her in the eye and go, I tried to save him. No one in the jungle dies with dignity, unfortunately. So I suggest we get out.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a point.
You know, before we go anywhere, I don't have any more of the potions, but we do need to have some sort of, medicinal refreshment, I suppose, so that in case something like that happens again.
I'm all out of spell slots. I need to get back to the village and rest.
I will find something for us, and I'm gonna go look around for anything medicinal to soothe myself and Grimbucket, and something poisonous for the bean.
And Lydia, you hear weeping. There's a sound of desolate crying. It's getting closer.
I'll
And
look around.
a woman stepping out, like the forest itself spew her out. Her beautiful carved, almost elven-looking features are covered with tree bark. She's covered in vines that are flowering, and her hair are leaves and twigs. And she is looking mournfully at the fallen hero. And she is bending down and cradling him. and you see her tears stream free.
I'm
And
just
they
gonna catch
fall.
them. Can I just try and catch them tears?
Yes,
That's
you
not.
can.
They don't need to go on field. They're exactly what we came for. They're a terrible poison. We don't want him to be poisoned.
You can catch the tears. And she just seems to ignore you, and she just cradles Theo. And you see her place a soft kiss on his brow. And she carries him away, and as she disappears in the underbush, you can see Theo opening his eyes with a gasp, looking over the shoulder of the dryad.
Oh, he's all better now.
You have one last sentence before we pan away.
Wasn't that nice?
Theo.
See here. I'll be watching, McCracken. I'll be watching.
And we fade to black. Hey, you found Briala's tears.
That we did, and we saved the university so much money and drain our resources.
Oh my god.
What's the matter with you?
Oh. Thank you all for coming out to play.
Thank you.
I feel traumatized. You'll weep into a corner somewhere.
That took turns.
I want to say, Scrat warned me prior to me being in this game.
Tee.
Did not see that coming somehow.
So, we're gonna go up the screen this time. We went down the screen last time. So we will start with Death by Badger. This is your chance to tell us
Oh god, why?
what you get up to online, where we can find you, and find more of the things that you do, and also what your favourite part of the stream was.
Cool. Well, as I said, I go by the screen name at Death by Badger. I write adventures for the DM's Guild, so you can find me under that name now. I tend to write Ravenloft mostly. So if you like any spooky, creepy things like people getting murdered by academics, then you'll probably find that. There. I have to say, I think points goes to the Professor Lydia suddenly sounding homicidal in the last 10 minutes. I think that's the biggest laugh I've had this week. I didn't see it coming. It was like she was so nice and like the comical all the way down, and then at the end it's like I'm gonna murder this dickhead. I'm not gonna trust anyone Scottish again. Much time poison me in a hurry.
Fantastic. And chat is open, so if you want to link us to your DM section or whatever, by all means, go for it. So we're just going to skip straight over Derek and go straight to... No, I'm kidding. Hi, Derek. How did you find that?
Hey, oh my god, that was so much fun. So I'll start off with saying, yeah, hi, I'm Derek, Archmage _ Derek on Twitter. You can also find a lot of my work at themagecollege.wordpress.com. And I'm starting to spread out into DM's Guild and Drive-Thru, and you'll see a lot of that stuff coming out very shortly. My favorite part of the game absolutely had to be Scrap putting up with all my bullshit, all of Theo's bullshit. And that sort of turn at the ending, I was like, oh, okay. Oh my god, that was such a wonderful thing to play off of the entire time.
Oh my god.
Fantastic. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I sort of knew. I think I sort of knew from the very beginning. I was like, we're going to the jungle. No one dies with dignity in the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle.
Wow, self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. I think my favorite part was the interactions between Theo and McCracken at the beginning. Malcatra, Nairi, how about you? Same questions.
Well, I can be found on Twitter at Malacatra, which I will link, and also at RSDoodle, where I post my artwork, and I do a lot of artsy things over there, if you'd like to check it out. I'm also found at Natural Ruckus. It is on Twitter and Twitch, where we stream games quite regularly. So yeah, that's about what I do. And my favorite part of this entire game was just the complete mess that was the last 10 minutes, I guess. because it went from crazy role playing to just complete havoc in 0 to 100 so quickly, and I didn't expect any of it. I didn't expect it to happen that way, so yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed playing like a caster. I've not done that for a long time, especially not using all of my spell slots in one combat. Like, it's good fun. And thank you very much to Tahina for giving us that opportunity. Tahina,
My pleasure.
same questions.
Thank you for hanging out. My name is on Twitter. You can find me at Tahina_Andale. On Tuesday nights, you can see me here. I'm part of the cast member of the Wizards and Wardrobes campaign. And in about 3 hours, you can see me roll dice from the other side of the screen, basically. I will play Runa Recastort here, my Grave Domain Cleric in Tomb of Annihilation, over at Fumbles and Fame. And my favorite part was I really loved the interaction between Theo and Lydia, and also between Mila and Madame Grimbucket. I thought if this were a campaign, this would be so interesting to see how that would work out in the future. And I rolled on Wild Magic, and I have to say Theo would be dead, or maybe a ghost. That was my first plan, but the last 2 Wild Magic things I rolled were all for healing. And so I decided, instead of giving the whole party potions for healing, let's bring him back to haunt Lydia another way. I had so much fun.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah.
Thank you, that was
Thank
awesome.
you for running.
Thank you all for coming and playing.
Thank you. So
Thank you
that
so
just leaves me. I've already told you about my favorite part, and I enjoyed all of your characters. This was a great little game. I also have things. I have a Discord, which you should all be in, because it's full of really lovely, family feel friendly people who are inclusive and will teach you D&D if you need teaching. They won't preach you about D&D if you don't want preaching to, but they will talk to you if you like to talk about it, and oh my god, will they talk. Get in there. It's a great place to be. On Twitter, that you can send me pop me a follow on Twitter and help me by retweeting the stream. That's always very useful. If you want a game, send me a DM and we'll get you a game. Easy as that. There's no hidden conditions. You can just play. Just roll up and play. See what I did there? Roll up and play. And YouTube is where all of the games get uploaded. So check that out. This week's going to be a bit behind because this is the 8th out of 10 games I'm playing this weekend. So I'm a bit behind on that. I don't actually have enough time between streams to upload them. I also have a Patreon, so if you like the stuff I'm throwing down, I'd very much appreciate it if you support me on Patreon. You can support me from as little as $1, and there is extra content on there and extra content going on there that we are working on at the moment. And I also have merch, which is on Redbubble. You can get all sorts of merch that looks a little bit like this, with like my emblem on it. You can get sketch pads and things and t-shirts. I've also got t-shirts and stuff like that. And some higher tier subscription Patreons can also get exclusive merch. Black on Gold Crest. Oh, that reminds me, we've got the new emote. The new emote, that emote there, the gold emote, on a black t-shirt, on a field of black, as a exclusive item, not available to public, only for Patreons. I think that's everything from me. I'm going to actually have a look at who's live, because I've not done that yet. Yeah, it's a Sunday, so there's not many people on at the minute, but I can see my good old friend Lynx. He's online, and he is one of my favorite streamers. He's got a very, very nice... he's got a very nice... What's the word? Not attitude, like just a nice environment about him. He's also a person who's cultivating a really nice community, but he's doing the hard yards because he's creating a nice community in a place that's all first-person shooters and stuff, like where people are generally a bit saltier than the D&D community, which is always pretty cool. But yeah, he's a really cool guy. He's just recently got engaged, and he streams full-time as well, so love to support him. When we get in there, guys, take the raid chat in, take the scrap raid in. Let's just go and get the hype going. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.